Of boxing, where Terence Crawford prepping for arguably the biggest fight of his career. Maybe not so much Shawn Porter, although a very good opponent, but it's Bud Porter on pay-per-view. What do you think's at stake for him, despite being undisputed junior welterweight champ, winning 3 world titles in 3 divisions? It's always a conversation with him of who's he fought.
This is an interesting fight because it's probably his toughest in a long time. I think most people expect the specialness of Bud Crawford to win out, but Shawn Porter to make a strong account of himself. But even if that were to happen, it's actually pretty important. One, there hasn't been an opponent of this quality in quite some time. I mean, listen, Amir Khan was great in his day, but and I very rarely ever say this, but it looked to me like he quit in the fight with Bud Crawford. And Kell Brook certainly had his day in the sun. By the time that he fought Bud Crawford, that was not the day, and Bud Crawford just absolutely obliterated him. Shawn Porter is a bit of a different nut to crack. He is in his prime. He is a Tasmanian devil. He has a high work rate. He can box on the outside. He can box on the inside. He has himself, by the way, faced a bevy of 147ers who have, in ways that, by the way, Bud Crawford has not. Like, he's been tested in this division. But you ask, like, what's at stake for him? Obviously, if you want to retain status and what he has, winning is important. But it was something that Bud Crawford said this week that really stuck out to me. He goes, why don't I have the acclaim? Why don't I have the same push, either from promoters or fans, as Canelo? Because you'll recall, for a long time, and even today, Bud Crawford has been in discussion as a top pound-for-pound boxer. Well, you want to get back in that discussion. I don't think beating Shawn Porter gets you ahead of Canelo, given everything Canelo is doing. Okay, fair enough. But to make what is left of his career, remember, he is closer to 40 than he is 30. If he really wants to get another marquee matchup, you got to go in there and put a stamp on a guy like Shawn Porter. Errol Spence was able to drop him in a decision win in the end. I think you need to do more than that. You really want to get in that Canelo conversation. You want to get back there. You have to not just win. You have to win impressively, and that has to be a setup towards something else big. Now, what that may be, I don't know. This fight's only happening because the sanctioning body ordered it. But nevertheless, there's just so much momentum behind winning. There's so much momentum behind KOs. Big, tall stakes, and a tall order, I should say, even, for Bud Crawford on Saturday.
Luke, certainly appreciate it, man. Looking forward to the weekend. By the way, Porter, a former welterweight champ in his own right, a 5-1 underdog. Crawford coming in minus 700. Want to let you know about the Morning Combat podcast. Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell, BC, on the latest pod, breaking down Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter. A lot of the things, including the biggest storylines we just talked about, and BC reacting to the comments each fighter made in their interview. Make sure you download and follow the guys today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.